What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the live edition of the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. A little bit earlier than usual. That's because they practiced a little bit earlier than usual, and we got this awesome update from ESPN's own Jamison Hensley saying Lamar Jackson returned to practice on Wednesday. First time he's been on the field in 24 days since leaving that game against the Chiefs in Week 4 with that hamstring injury. Looks like he was limited in practice, was taking reps behind Tyler Huntley and Cooper Rush. John Harbaugh then went and spoke after the practice session, was asked, obviously, loads of questions about Lamar Jackson and his status. He said that it's hard to put a number on it. When asked the percentage of the chance Lamar plays Sunday against Chicago, it's hard to put a number. I don't have any shareable injury intelligence. Now, let's just be honest. We expect this at this point from one John Harbaugh. This is what we like to call coach speak. And this is what John Harbaugh is the absolute best at. It seems like every single time he's on a press conference, we walk away from said press conference and are like, did he actually just say anything at all? Or did he just ramble and say nothing pretty much for 20 minutes straight? Now, I don't think it's a 100% guarantee he plays Sunday against the Chicago Bears. But I will say this. Him returning to practice today, him being on that practice field, him strapping up his Ravens helmet for the first time in over 3 weeks is a step in the right direction. They had practice on Monday. He wasn't there. Everybody was freaking out. Everybody was panicked, myself included. But then today, even though I didn't necessarily expect him to practice, he was there. Now we'll just wait and see kind of how this week goes on, see if he's going to be there Thursday, see if he's going to be there on Friday, and see what that injury status is for Sunday's game against Chicago. What do you think the percentage chance is, Gage? We can skip that way into and go back to it after this. What do you think the percentage chances that Lamar plays against the Bears? Scale it for me 1 to 100 in the comment section down below. We got 34 people hanging out with us. So happy you are all here. Answer this question. We'll talk about it down below in the chat. Kanye Unreleased says, I think every Ravens fan over the past 4 weeks has had Lamar Jackson in their prayers. Yes, I am one of them. Fierce Outdoors says, let's go. Hi is saying, what's good, y'all? What's going on? Hi, good to see you, my friend. So happy we're all back together. We did go live a little bit earlier. Like I told y'all off the top, we usually go live 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. This time we moved it up to 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central because of this injury news. We thought, you know what? Let's get a video out. Let's go live as quickly as possible. Let's talk about it, chop it up with all the Ravens faithful. We got Novelty or Novolite saying 75. Rich took his message away. Fierce Outdoors saying 100. My man Steven feeling really good about Lamar Jackson's chances to return from injury against Chicago. Make sure you guys also are hitting that thumbs up button and liking today's video. Coming up on our live show, because we're going to talk with you guys, but we also have a couple of segments to talk about as well. Mark Andrews' latest trade rumors. ESPN released an article, and in said article, they listed 25 players across the National Football League that they believe there's a lot of interest in, and that there are a lot of, reasons that these rumors are coming out. Mark Andrews is one of those. I'll tell you guys what that means and what that is in just a couple of seconds. And then our final show today, our live Ravens Rundown mailbag. Your questions, my answers live right here on the show. Rich saying, I'm feeling more optimistic now. He is at a 70. Okay, Rich. I like it. I don't mind 70. I'll take 70. Gage, as we sit right now, 2:35 Central Time, where do you think that Lamar Jackson's percentage chance to play is?
Coming in this morning, I was going at like a 35 to 40, but now here in this news, I'm going more at an 80 to 85. Just seeing him on the field jumps that percentage up even higher for me.
Yep.
What would you say?
I would probably say 80%. I just don't think, if he wasn't going to play, would they be bringing him back out to practice? Or would they just say, screw it, let's get him another full week of rest? Because that's kind of where I'm coming from with this. If he was never going to play against the Bears, I don't think they would practice him. I think they would just give him another kind of full week off. So I'm leaning really, really heavy on I think he's going to play 85%. Big Peachy. What are the odds we win if Lamar plays? Bears look good. I would imagine Lamar won't be as mobile. Odds we win if Lamar plays, I think they go up, but I don't think that they are by any means super high. I would say it's probably, if Lamar Jackson plays, would you say 55% chance Baltimore wins? I would probably say somewhere around there. Gage, what would you say?
I'd say around the same. I think it'll be a bit of a running back battle between DeAndre Swift and Derrick Henry for most of the game. But Caleb Williams and Lamar Jackson will be out of the game, whether it's throwing the ball or running for the most part. I feel like DeAndre Swift and Derrick Henry will take control.
Yeah, I think this needs to be a Derrick Henry game, whether Lamar Jackson is playing in it or not, just because of, his injury status and his future this season. And I also think, you're better when you're able to run the football. Those are my thoughts. But, great question. Big Peachy, ask that again, if you will. Just use hashtag Ravens in the comments section. We are still raffling off for the next 10 days our Isaiah Likely signed mini helmet. Let me get this out of its casing so I could show it to you guys. Boom. Looks like this. Ravens mini helmet, I Likely number 80 on it. You can win that if you join our raffle, okay? All it takes is a $5 super chat on a midweek live show. It gets you 3 raffle tickets. $10 gets you 6. $20 gets you 15. If you notice, they're usually not this great of deals when we go live for the games. We like to make them a little bit sweeter for that live audience because you guys are the real ones. If you're here with us on a Wednesday afternoon, that means you guys are truly the real ones of this show. Here's the signed helmet, and that's what a raffle tickets will give you. Novalite saying, I really have faith in that defense, though. After the Rams game, they look pretty good, even with Roquan Smith and Metabike out. Novalite, make sure you use hashtag Ravens. That way we can use it in our mailbag. What do you guys think? Is the Bears game a, quote, must-win for Baltimore? Let me know in the comment section down below. Give me a yes or give me a no. Weigh in with your answers. Gage, what do you think? Is the game against the Bears a must-win for Baltimore?
Yes. I feel like it will be because it'll be a bit of a confidence boost for them going throughout this next 5-game stretch that they have, which should be an easier stretch than they've had previously this season. So I think having this win against the Bears will be a great confidence boost going into that 5-game stretch.
Yeah, and it just feels like if you lose this ball game, man, you drop down to 1-6. Has any team in the history of this league made the playoffs after starting 1-6? We should probably have looked that up. We'll get stats and info on it. Stats and info, a.k.a. me on my laptop. Has a NFL team started 1-6 and made the playoffs? No NFL team has ever started 1-6 and made the playoffs. So, if you need an answer to is this game a must-win or not, that is your answer. Kanye Unreleased says, for the past 4 weeks, we've been saying is blank a must-win game for the Ravens, and it's always been yes, but really it wasn't. This game is essential to even making the playoffs. Kanye, I could not agree more. Big Peachy, follow up with that. The Bears are the only team in the league with 21-plus points per game, and TBH, I don't see them struggling against our defense, hoping Roquan plays, and really hoping Ben Johnson does. I saw it on Google. Did you find different info? Okay, the 1970 Bengals started 1-6. Fierce, I don't think she actually meant that. I just think she was trying to, get a little bit better, be in better standing with the Texans fans. I just think she was trying to connect with them a little bit more. So, but don't take that to heart. Not to Ben Johnson thing. Not do Ben Johnson things, says Big Beach. Yeah, I agree 100%. Nico Sandman saying 90% chance he plays. I hope so. Make sure to keep getting those questions in. Use hashtag Ravens in the chat or super chat to get on today's Q&A. Alrighty, if you want to send in any kind of super chat, that's going to guarantee you get your spot on the mailbag. And if you use hashtag Ravens, that's going to give you a pretty dang good chance. Just like Ravens76B more did. Okay, hashtag Ravens, and then ask that question, and you'll most likely see it get added onto today's mailbag segment that we always do at the very end of the shows. Rick saying, I wish this team was really healthy. The Bears are playing really well, and that would be a great game. I'm surprised the Ravens are favored by 5.5. Well, Rich, funny enough, this team is getting healthy. Roquan's going to play. Marlon's going to play. Hamilton's going to play. Stanley's probably going to play. Ricard's probably going to play. Peebles, Jones are probably going to play. And Lamar's probably going to play. So that's kind of everybody that's dealing with injuries. They will be back. Now, are they 100%? No. But at this point in the season, when you're 7 weeks through, very rarely are any teams 100% healthy. Okay? But I get what you're saying. Make sure you get those questions in down below in the comment section. And if you're pumped that Lamar Jackson is back at practice, hit that thumbs up button. I'm not starting our first segment until we get to 20 likes, okay? I might not even talk until we get to 20 likes. That's not true. Adrian says, please, the Bears was sloppy when they won the game. Stop it. Caleb Williams did throw a pick. Stop Caleb Williams fold under pressure. So if we play our game, our defense is good, we win. If your defense plays like it did against Los Angeles, you will win the football game if Lamar Jackson plays. Now, if they play the way they did against Los Angeles and Lamar Jackson is not playing, I will not give any guarantees to winning this football game because I am done doing that for the Baltimore Ravens. I hear you. Just looking at our team versus theirs at this point, says Big Peachy. And we playing as underdogs now. We should win this thing definitely. Booney saying, y'all 1-6. Well, Booney, that's not true. Fake news. Liar. You're wrong. Get pwned. Suck it. We're 1-5. Suck it. No way y'all even make it close with Lamar, says Booney. Well, Booney, know your facts before you come at us in our comments section because you were wrong. Do you think that we should spend first, second, or third round picks to get key defensive lineman or offensive guard? Are you talking about in the draft or are you talking about via trade? Because I would say yes to both, honestly. I think you use your first round pick on an edge rusher. I think you use your second round pick on an offensive lineman. I think you use your third round pick on an interior defensive lineman. That's what I think. 1 like away from getting the 20 likes. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Oh, he says through trade. Okay. Yes. I don't know about first, second, and third, but I would be more than happy trading any of those types of picks. We will make the playoffs and win our division. Adrian Booz, use hashtag Ravens with that, and we will put it in today's mailbag as your hot take that I am reacting to. For all those people who are just now joining us, these are the segments coming up. But before we get into those, Lamar Jackson was at practice today, although John Harbaugh did not mention whether or not he was going to play on Sunday. I think he's just kind of trying to keep that close to the vest. We'll know more when the injury report comes out at 4 o'clock today. All right, let me check Slack. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Didn't miss anything. 21 like. Hey, can I see the Fanatics L3 gauge before we start? Yeah, Fanatics. No, Max Price, yes. How do you feel about Andrews in a third rounder to the Dolphins for Bradley Chubb in a third rounder? I think it will help since Chubb's a known motivator and this defense sees a spark. Yeah, Kane, I could not agree with that more. Adrian, ask it again, but say hashtag Ravens and then your question, not hashtag we. Take off the code Ritz thing because that code is not active anymore. So let me see that first one. I think it's now, so take out the code. It's now 40. Oh, it's just $29. Yeah, that's great. And I feel like Isaiah Like could start and Cole could block. Yeah, Kane, you're 100% right. I would love Bradley Chubb, man. I would absolutely love Bradley Chubb in this Ravens defense. In fact, was that yesterday's video? That was yesterday's video. We talked about it literally yesterday, so check that out on the channel. Bradley Chubb would be a great, great, great addition to this defense, and we know that he is available, made available by the Miami Dolphins. Charlie asked what happened to Tyler Huntley. Is he hurt? No, he's not. Nothing happened to Tyler Huntley. He was at practice today. I really have faith in that defense, though. After that Ravens game, they looked pretty good, even with Roquan out. What scheme do you think the Ravens use? More 4-3 or 3-4 because they shift more on the line? Great question, Sasquatch. That's a great, great question. I think 3-4 because they need to be better at stopping the run and be better at pass rushing. Or, excuse me, at pass coverage. So, Adrian, you're so close. Hashtag Ravens, they need to be together. Andrew, I like that. Andrews to the Buccaneers, Jair to the Colts. I don't like that take at all. Okay, Gage, are we ready to roll? All righty, let's do it. Okay, Mark Andrews trade rumors. Then we'll come back, reset. Right after we get out of this segment, Gage, just go straight to the social, and we'll kind of restart from the build-up. Like the Lamar social. We'll just reset, for new people that come in. Adam Roars, what's up, man? Alrighty, let's get into it. Mark Andrews trade rumors. Let me look over this script just to refamiliarize myself. And once I do that, we'll get ready to go. Okay, I'm ready. You ready, Gage? Alrighty, let's do it. ESPN released an article earlier this week where they listed 25 players across the National Football League that are most likely to be traded as we get closer and closer to the NFL trade deadline on November 4th. What this article stated pretty much was 4 things. Number 1, 25 players on the trade block. Number 2, what teams that they would fit. Number 3, the percent chance of them to be traded. And then they ended it with just adding in some honorable mentions from teams across the league. 2 of those honorable mentions were Baltimore Ravens players. Stick around to find out who they were. Before we get into the content, though, make sure you're subscribed. We're battling Bears now in a Week 8 sub battle. We are currently down 20 subscribers. That's not good enough. Okay, if we want to beat the Bears on Sunday, that starts right here. And also, it doesn't cost you a dime to subscribe. A lot of you think you're subscribed, but just make sure and check. And if you are, go grab your mom's phone. Make sure she's subscribed as well. Daily coverage, all 100% free. So Mark Andrews was listed by ESPN as a player who could be traded. Of the top 25, they ranked them in terms of 1 through 25, who would be most impactful on a new team. Trey Hendrickson was number 1. Mark Andrews was number 9. So they still believe he'd be a very impactful player for whatever team he goes to if he is traded. And Jeremy Fowler had a little bit more on the tight end. The 3-time Pro Bowler is a tried and true Raven, and Baltimore is still holding out faith that it can make a playoff run despite the 1-5 start. But shipping pass rusher Odafe Oweh to the Chargers surprised many around the league, and the franchise seems open to at least evaluating the future of key veterans. Andrews is making $11 million in the final year of his deal, and tight end Isaiah Likely is also set to hit free agency, probably forcing the Ravens to make some sort of action at the position sometime eventually. And it seems like Mark Andrews' name has come up a ton. It's been listed by ESPN. It's been listed by The Athletic. It's been listed by CBS Sports. It seems like everybody has kind of come to this conclusion that it does make sense for Baltimore to trade away Mark Andrews because of his somewhat lack of production this season, mixed with his contract, mixed with the year, or the fact that at the end of this year, he's going to be a free agent. So I promise you the percent chance of getting traded, that's a part of this article as well. ESPN marks him at a 20. Wasn't the highest, wasn't the lowest. They are putting it right now at a 1/5 chance he gets shipped out of Baltimore. And right now, I think that that's fair. Now, I might think it's a little bit higher, but I think that's just because I've been talking about a Mark Andrews trade for a very, very long time. So I've kind of always thought this should be something that's at least been discussed inside the building. They give you 3 teams for teams that he might fit in with. The San Francisco 49ers, Philadelphia Eagles, and Dallas Cowboys were the 3 teams that were mentioned by ESPN. Now, if we want to talk about them each individually, I want to start with the first one and the third one. They don't really necessarily make sense to me. For the 49ers, you got George Kittle coming back, and the tight end that they've been playing in place of the injured George Kittle, they actually really like where he's kind of improved over the last couple of seasons. So it feels like they're good at tight end. For the Dallas Cowboys, it's as simple as they just paid Jake Ferguson about a month and a half ago. Their offense is elite, and their defense absolutely sucks. So if they're going to make a move at the deadline, I can promise you it's not going to be for another offensive player. Now, Philadelphia, that's one that started to make some sense. They have been linked before. In fact, our Eagles insider, Chase Sr., who runs Eagles Now, is the host of that channel, has talked about a Mark Andrews trade on his channel before. Their outlook at tight end is an interesting one because Dallas Goedert, he's been awesome for them. He's been phenomenal. Was a big part of why that offense was so successful in their run for a Super Bowl in 2024. But he's very, very injury prone. And their backup, their tight end too, Grant Calcaterra, he currently has an oblique injury, and even when he's not injured, he can't really block. They've been very, very disappointed with the lack of production that they've been getting from their tight end too. So, Howie Roseman now has to weigh who he feels is more of a long-term option for the Philadelphia Eagles. Does he just go ahead and extend Dallas Goedert, who's at the end of his deal? Or does he trade for Mark Andrews because he believes that he would be a more long-term, reliable option because he's remained fairly healthy throughout the entirety of his career? He can block. He can catch passes. He's all reliable. Howie Roseman's going to have to make that decision. And if he doesn't feel like the tight end position is cutting it for Philadelphia, if he feels like they need something new, they need a tight end that can block better, they need a guy that can be a little bit more reliable, that you can count on to be out on the field more than Dallas Goedert and Calcaterra, then I would not be surprised in the young general manager making a move, making a call to Eric DeCosta, and seeing if Mark Andrews has any interest in becoming a Philadelphia Eagle. What do you think the odds are? Percent chance that Mark Andrews gets traded. Scale it for me. 1 to 100 in the comment section down below. We told you ESPN said 20. I want you to give me yours down below. I think it's around 25%. Maybe 30. But I'd do it without blinking. Honestly. I know that sounds a little bit harsh, but I wouldn't think twice about trading Mark Andrews. Now, if I thought about the human element of it, and if I thought about how much he's meant to this Baltimore Ravens franchise, yeah, that would get me to not do it so quickly. But if I just think of a value standpoint, especially if you can get anything on defense in return, that is what you need desperately on this team. And if there's a team, like possibly Philadelphia, that can get you somebody on that side of the football in a trade with Mark Andrews, maybe even Miami, I don't know, I don't care who. Just if you can get rid of Mark Andrews' contract, not have to deal with him going into free agency, and get a defensive player in return, sign me up. Sign me up. Mark Andrews this year has been a quiet one. 6 games played, 21 catches. He's actually caught a good amount of balls. 174 yards, 8.3 yards a catch, 2 touchdowns. Last year, he had a really slow start, but finished the year incredibly strong and actually led the team in receiving touchdowns. But obviously, his 2024 season is going to be marked with the fumble in the playoff game against the Bills and, of course, the dropped 2-point conversion in the playoff game against the Bills. If you get a defensive player in return, that would limit the pick that you get back. But honestly, I'm fine with that. Like at this point, every single team in the National Football League knows that Mark Andrews is going to be a free agent at the end of the season. So they also know you don't have to offer anything pick-wise that is that great because he's going to be available in a couple of months. So I would rather just see if you can get a defensive player than try to get something like a third-round pick, which I'm going to tell you right now, you won't be able to get. I know it's hard to wrap your head around it, but I promise you, if you would have been able to get a third-round pick for Mark Andrews, he would have been gone in March. Honestly, pair Mark Andrews with a fifth-round pick of your own and just see what happens. Go see what's out there. I'm incredibly interested in that because you have 5 fifth-rounders. Guess what, guys? You don't need 5 fifth-rounders. You don't. So give somebody Mark Andrews in a fifth. See who bites. For the Eagles, Azeez Ojulari was listed as an honorable trade mention. Gage, you can push this across. That's him. Played with the New York Giants last year. Was signed in free agency. I actually really, really like Azeez Ojulari. Now, he might not be having the most phenomenal season, but also I think that there's still a lot in there that you were able to see last year, okay? He finished last season with 6 sacks and 11 games for New York. 2 years prior to that, 5.5 sacks in 7 games. Now, he does have trouble staying healthy, but if you believe that he's healthy enough and you believe you can maybe just get him in a Mark Andrews for Azeez Ojulari swap, oh my goodness, I would do that, and I would not even have to think about it. Should the Ravens trade Mark Andrews? You let me know in the comment section down below. Give me a yes or give me a no. Weigh in with your answer. We got more coming up on Ravens trade rumors. Don't go anywhere. But before that, a couple of Ravens are honorable mentions, right? I mentioned that at the beginning of the video. ESPN listed people that might not be as popular on the trade block, but you should keep an eye out on. I'll tell you who that is in just a second. Make sure you go to chatsports.com/purple hoodie. This hoodie is on the best sale it's been on since we started promoting it. $29. That's all it costs. It was $70. Now it's $29. If you could do the quick math, guys, that's $41 off. It's an unbelievable deal. Christmas is just 2 months away. I know it doesn't sound believable, but it's true. Chatsports.com/purple hoodie. Get this for $41 off and get it today. That's the link. It's in the comments. It's also in the description of today's video. Some honorable mentions that were listed at the end of that ESPN article. Rashad Bateman and Keaton Mitchell. 2 guys that ESPN thinks you should at least keep an eye on when it comes to the trade block over the next couple of weeks. Now, Keaton Mitchell, unfortunately, isn't too surprising. We actually talked about Keaton Mitchell, I think, twice last week in regards to trade rumors across the National Football League. In fact, I would not be surprised if he was dealt, just straight up. I wouldn't deal him. I think that you could still, him and Derrick Henry, make them one of the best 1-2 punches in the National Football League. But it's obvious that Baltimore and their coaching staff see something in Keaton Mitchell that I don't, because he was a healthy scratch in the first 4 weeks of the season, and he only got like 15 snaps in these final 2 weeks of the season, majority of those coming on special teams. However, Rashad Bateman's a new one. Now, it's not surprising from the fact that I actually told our Giants host a couple weeks ago, when the Giants were rumored to be wanting a wide receiver, I told him, hey, maybe Rashad Bateman's a name that you should talk about because of his lack of production this season, and because if you remember back in May, he actually was on the trade block then. Jordan Schultz came out with this report that during the pursuit of George Pickens, the Ravens were also in talks to trade Rashad Bateman to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, they didn't go far because they ultimately struck a deal with George Pickens and the Steelers, but they at least had the conversation about it. So you keep Rashad Bateman. You pay Rashad Bateman. And then so far through 6 games, you see this, 11 catches, less than 2 catches a game, 120 yards. It's 20 yards averaging a game, 1 touchdown in 6 games played. You are not seeing at all what you expected to this season. And then also, the one time you kind of take a big shot to Rashad Bateman, the effort's just not there for one reason or the other. Against the Houston Texans, that ended up in a Kamari Lassiter interception because Rashad Bateman just kind of stopped running. Now, I wouldn't bet on it that he gets dealt, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. I personally would not be interested unless it was a lot. And by a lot, I mean like something more than you would even expect. Like if you got a fourth rounder for Rashad Bateman, and I know that might sound crazy in itself. If you got a third rounder for Rashad Bateman, I think I would think about it. I think I would. There's a couple of wide receiver needy teams out there. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the New York Giants, the New England Patriots. We know New England and the Steelers right now are working the phones pretty heavily. Now, the Steelers, I wouldn't count on because it's a division rival. That doesn't seem realistic. But New England, if they don't land Jacoby Myers, if they don't land Chris Olave, if they don't land Jalen Waddle, one of the big fishes that's going out there right now, expect a call for Rashad Bateman. Pick one to keep, Keaton Mitchell or Rashad Bateman. If you had to keep one of them, let me know in the comment section down below. From a production standpoint, I feel like it's still Rashad Bateman, but I would love to see Keaton Mitchell utilized a little bit better. That's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you guys got me followed on social media. Gage, that was a good one, man. I was happy with that one. Hope you guys are happy with it as well. If you were, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Alrighty, that is it for our first segment. Make sure to like the video. Make sure if you're watching and you haven't subscribed, do that right now. Reminder, we're going to reset a little bit. If you're just now joining us, Lamar Jackson returned to practice today. First time he's been on the field in the last 24 days. What have I missed in Slack? Okay, let's see. Let's see. What? That's hilarious. That is so funny. Rich says with those numbers, they could have kept Oweh. There's a smaller prize in the McDonald's Monopoly game. One is 30% off Fanatics, max 100. So yes, Lamar Jackson did return to practice today. Although John Harbaugh told us that it's hard to put a number on it when talking about the percentage chance he plays against the Bears. I don't have any shareable injury intelligence, which to me means that John Harbaugh is just doing his best John Harbaugh impression, trying to keep these things a little bit tighter, a little bit closer to the vest, and he just doesn't have much to say. We can skip this one, Gage. The hashtag Ravens, yeah, there we go. How are we doing with questions, by the way? It is. It is. I wonder if there's two things I think that might lead into that. I wonder if the fact that it was a bye week, you know, if we would have had this kind of audience anyway, or if the fact that we're going live an hour and a half earlier than usual. Yeah, I think it could be the latter. But it was such big news. We had to. Rich also says with those numbers, they could have kept Oweh. 75 on Andrew's trade. They'd help on the O-line and the D-line. Okay, keep asking those questions. Get those hashtag Ravens in the chat. Gage, how many do we have? We have 3 questions right now. That's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. Do you have Rich's most recent one? Do you think they could package Falele with Andrews in a trade? Rich Strobel? That one, great. Okay, keep asking those questions. In fact, we literally need you to ask those questions because we don't have enough. Dakota coming in. Ooh, Dakota? I don't think that's going to pull because you said hashtag Ravens, comma. So copy and paste that. That does pull? Okay, so Dakota's Kings is in there? Great. Okay, there we go. We got more. Let's keep them going. Also, a reminder, we're raffling off this Isaiah Likely signed mini helmet, and we're going to give that away on Thursday Night Football against the Dolphins, which will be going down in 8 days from now. If you guys want to get some raffle tickets to win it, $5 Super Chat gets you 3, $10 gets you 6, $20 gets you 15. And I'll tell you this right now, if someone sends in something, I'll double what this amount is for the first person to send something in. Kanye with a good one. Ooh, they wouldn't need 2 firsts and Mark Andrews for Kevin Zeitler. You could get Kevin Zeitler for a 6th round pick, probably. Open the door. Is Sperry out there? If you don't mind, Gage. How much could you trade? How much would you have to trade to get Kevin Zeitler? Like a 6th or 5th? Yep, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so Kanye, you don't need to trade 2 firsts and Mark Andrews for Kevin Zeitler. You can get him for a 6, man. You could get him for a 6th. Make sure to keep getting those in. We got a couple more with Dakota. I need 3 more new people. If you can put that hashtag Ravens way in back up, Gage. I need 3 more new people to come out and give us some new questions. Yep. Evan thinks Lamar is definitely playing. I hope you are right, my friend Evan. Sasquatch. Good question. Good question. Lil Bryson says, sup. Lil Bryson, I need you to ask something down below. Once we get enough, we'll get into our final segment, and then we'll go ahead and get on out of here. It'll be a little bit shorter of a day. We have, we went a little earlier because of the big news. How is that doing, by the way? Let's check the numbers on that one. Let's see. Now, are they coming in now? Great. Lil Bryson says Lamar hopefully should play. I think he will. If you're just now tuning in, Lamar Jackson practiced for the first time in 24 days today. Now, Lamar, or John Harbaugh, was asked if Lamar was going to play on Sunday. He didn't officially give you an answer. He said that he did not have a percentage chance because he didn't have any shareable injury information. I think he's still going to play. I don't think they would practice him without him playing, or at least having a chance. But, like, if they weren't going to play him on Sunday, they wouldn't have practiced him. I think they would have just given him another full week of rest, in my opinion. Dakota says, yeah, I agree. He should, just with the initial rumors of him quitting on the team. Felt the same way when we had Huntley versus the Bengals in 2021. What do you think about a trade for Joel Bonito? The Browns, in exchange for a first and Mark Andrews. You don't even have to give up a first. You don't even have to give up either of those things to get Joel Bonito. You could probably give up a 5th and get him. Adam, we've been almost unwatchable without Lamar. I think he plays. Okay, I need one. You think one more question? One more new question, new person. So Kanye, Sasquatch, and Dakota. We're very thankful you keep asking questions. We need one more new one, and we need it right now. And then we're going to get started with our mailbag once we get it. Use hashtag Ravens in the chat down below. Young Bull. I actually see Calais Campbell as the best fit. He's a natural leader. He's cheap. He can play anywhere on the D-line. Edge rusher or DT are our 2 biggest weaknesses. Yeah, young boy, we actually talked a lot in the offseason. I had to go to a game watching Cooper Rush, says Lil Bryson. We actually talked a lot in the offseason about signing Calais Campbell. I thought they were going to do it. We actually went live the day that he signed with the Cardinals, and our live was pretty much all about rumors of signing Calais Campbell, and it didn't happen. Good question, Lil Bryson. Okay. Are we ready to roll, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. Okay. Time to get into our mailbag. Appreciate you guys for being here. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button. and like today's video. Okay, it is mailbag time. Gage, you know the usual time on these things, so just do what you do, and I'll do what I do, and we can get started right now. Our mailbag segment is back, ladies and gentlemen. If this is your first time watching, we do this once a week, and these all come from our live shows on Wednesday evening. You ask me questions, I give you answers, anything you want to know on the Baltimore Ravens, whether it's free agency rumors, trade rumors, record predictions, whatever it is, I got you covered right here on today's episode. Before I get to your questions, I got one for you, though. Will the Ravens make the playoffs? We've had some internal debate here at my Chat Sports amongst my coworkers. Some say no, some say yes. I want to hear where you lie. Give me your vote down below in the comment section, but give me a yes or a no. I'm curious to see how positive you guys are. Sasquatch 16 with our first question today. What edge is a realistic edge option? I would try to package Andrews and picks for someone, but who? I think that Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips are realistic options at the edge rusher position. I believe on Wednesday they placed Darren Waller on IR, meaning he's not going to be playing for the next couple of weeks. I know they probably don't need a tight end right now because they're about to do a fire sale of pretty much everything with how bad that season has gone in Miami and just with the outlook of their future over their next couple of weeks and the fact that Mike McDaniel probably won't be a head coach there 14 days from now. Regardless, they got two edge rushers that they very much have on the trade block and very much have interest from pretty much everybody around the National Football League. That's Bradley Chubb. That's Jalen Phillips. I don't mind either of them. I think both of them would help you. I think both of them would bring a great attitude. Both of them have loads of talent. Bradley Chubb has 4 sacks. Jalen Phillips has 20 pressures. And they both play on a defensive line that's not very good at all, okay? I know your defensive line isn't very good at all. You could use the help. You could use them. I also think that there might be some edges out there that don't feel like they're on the trade block right now until you could go out and offer them something big, which I would love if the Ravens personally did that. Azeez Ojulari wouldn't cost you a ton. I believe he's on the trade block for the Eagles. And if you package something with Mark Andrews, I think they would like that. Rich Strobel coming in next. Do you think you could package Faalele with Andrews in a trade? If so, I think they would have gotten a better trade last spring. What do you think? Yes and yes. I do think you could package Faalele with Andrews in a trade because Faalele, we all know, he's very, very bad. But there's also some teams that maybe think they could fix him. And he's been a starting right guard for the last 7 weeks in the National Football League and for all of last season. So I still do think you could package him and Andrews. Now, should you package him and Andrews? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to up the trade value a ton. But I also do agree with your statement that they should have and would have gotten a better trade last spring. They 1,000% would have. And that's why I was pounding the table for a Mark Andrews trade every single day since your season ended in Buffalo. And it wasn't just because of the drop and the fumble against the Bills. That was part of it. I'm going to be honest with you. But I also knew you could save $11 million in trading away Mark Andrews. And I knew he was getting older. And I knew you had Isaiah Likely. It was just so obvious to make that move, in my opinion. And I got called stupid. I got called an idiot. I got called not a real Ravens fan. And now everybody and their mom is saying, man, we should have traded Mark Andrews. Well, yeah, maybe if you would have listened to me, it could have happened, and you would have gotten a much better return on it back then than you would right now. Kanye Unreleased is next as I itch my eye. How about a trade for Quentin Nelson? We need better guards, in my opinion. Emory Jones Jr. might not be ready yet. Emory Jones Jr. won't be ready for the next couple of weeks, probably next month and a half, unfortunately. Quentin Nelson, I think, would be an awesome addition, especially with given how bad your guards have been. But if you look at the Colts, they right now are the top team in the AFC. They are the number 1 seed. Do you think they're letting go of their all-pro guard? They're not. I can promise you that. If this was the Colts of last year, where it felt like they were sellers at this point in the season, maybe you could have gotten them. But this version of the Colts is very different. They're going to be buyers, if anything. They will not be looking to get rid of Quentin Nelson. I'd love the addition. Fortunately, it's just not very feasible. Candyman coming in next. Will the Ravens sign Asante Samuel Jr.? Maybe. I don't know. I think it all depends on his health. We know he got a CAT scan a couple of weeks ago. That was coming in October. So I think you just got to wait on the reports of how those tests ended up. If they ended up positive and the fact that he could be back playing football this year, I wouldn't be shocked if the Baltimore Ravens inquired about him. But if they came back negative, then they're not going to do anything about it. But I do believe he's got some good football left in him. He's young. He's a good coverage corner. I believe that's what you need right now. Marlon Humphrey's not impressing me. Lord knows Jair Alexander's not impressing me. And so if he's healthy, Asante Samuel Jr. might. Should the Ravens sign Asante Samuel Jr.? Let me know. Make the call for me, yes or no, in the comment section down below. We got more questions coming up real soon. But while you're answering this, I got to tell you about our awesome friends at Prize Picks. If you download the Prize Picks app right now and use our code that we give to you guys, you get $50 in lineups. All you got to do is play your first $5 lineup. You and I make decisions every single day, but being right on Prize Picks can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up 3 times in the same lineup. Want to pick more on Josh Allen's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? You can now pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. Follow other players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. We got a big weekend of college football coming up, and I know you guys know I'm a massive college football fan. Feeling a little pessimistic this weekend on these 2 quarterbacks. Give me the less on each of them. Passing yards, 219.5 for Marcel Reed, 220.5 for Arch Manning. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. The link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Next question, coming up from Nova Light. I really have faith in the defense, though. After that Rams game, they looked pretty good, even with Roquan Smith and Metabike out. So they did look good against the Rams game. And I'm not here to rain on that parade. I'm not, Nova Light. I am here to be a little bit more realistic. And I've given this analogy a lot. Okay? I gave it on Wednesday. I gave it the Monday after the Rams game. I don't want to buy into this defense just yet. You see it all the time on movies. That douchebag boyfriend that wears the leather jacket, that drives the convertible, cheats on the girlfriend 10 times. Girlfriend keeps forgiving him. Because guess what? After the 10th time, he brings her flowers, tells her I'm sorry, tells her it's never going to happen again. Right now, we, us Ravens fans, are said girlfriend. The Ravens defense is said douchebag. Over the last 6 weeks, they've continually cheated on us by letting up 50 points a game. Well, that Rams game was the flowers and the apology. Now, that might be real. Said douchebag might change. But they might not. So I'm not buying into it just yet. If they stack these games, I'll start to buy into it. But just one apology you're giving me, just one game you're showing me, forget that. I'm not buying it. Lil Bryson, coming up next. Do you think the Ravens will improve on defense? Speaking of the defense, I think they will because, let's be honest, is there anywhere to go but up? I don't know how much improvement they're going to get. I think a lot of us are expecting an improvement like we got last year, where this team turned from one of the worst defenses in the NFL the first 10 weeks. Last 7 weeks, they were one of the best defenses in the National Football League. I don't see that in this team's future. You don't have good enough edge rushers. You don't have good enough depth on the interior of that defensive line. I think Roquan, even though he wasn't great last year, I think he's taken even a further step back this year. So no, I don't think you improve that much, but I do think you get better because it's kind of impossible not to. Hopefully something clicks with the rookies and Mike Green and Malachi Starks. And if so, it's going to help you out a ton. Raven76B More asks, is Pat Ricard playing? From the looks of it, at the current recording of this video, he is. And that will be massive. Oh my gosh, I can't even state how big that would be for this team. Pat Ricard, I think, means more to this roster, more to this offensive success than any of us anticipated. And you could see it over the last 6 weeks, how much of an impact his absence has on this run game, especially in short yardage situations. So I hope that he's playing. What scheme do you think the Ravens use more, 4-3 or 3-4, because they need to shift more on the line? I think 3-4. They're base 3-4. I don't see them going to 4-3 because, yeah, they need to sack the quarterback more. 4-3 kind of gives you a little bit more pressure on the quarterback than a 3-4 does. But with a 3-4, you're better in run defense and you're better in pass coverage, which they're bad at that as well. So I think they stay 3-4 unless they want to shift things up entirely, but I don't see that happening. Conway Lover, last question. Should the Ravens trade Isaiah Likely? No. No, they shouldn't. If they're going to trade a tight end, it should be Mark Andrews. It should not be Isaiah Likely. I still believe in Isaiah Likely as being the future of this position for the Baltimore Ravens. Didn't help that he was hurt at the beginning of this year. It's been a little bit slow coming back. That's not his fault, okay? I do think towards the end of this year, we're going to see a totally new Isaiah Likely. We're going to see an Isaiah Likely that we've only seen once before, and that was in that game against the Kansas City Chiefs, week 1 of the 2024 season. But trading Isaiah Likely, I have absolutely zero interest in doing that unless you can get something back that's like unbelievable that you're like, okay, we'll trade him and just keep Mark Andrews, but I'd have to see what that offer is. What would you do with Isaiah Likely? T for trade, K for keep. Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm typing T for trade if I am you. Also, if I'm you, I'm following me on social media. I can't because that's impossible to follow yourself, but we appreciate you guys for whoever's followed me on there as well already. I talk Ravens daily, Instagram, more family stuff. If you want to see my wife, if you want to see my dog, if you want to see what my life looks outside of sports, outside of work, that's great to see it right there. And if you're not subscribed, you have to change that today. You got to change that right now. All it takes is a click of a button. A lot of you think you're subscribed, and you're probably not. Just check. And if you are, great. Make sure your parents are subscribed too. Steal your sister's phone, your brother's phone, your grandma's phone. I don't care. Do me a solid. Subscribe to the channel. That's going to do it for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. Got some Twitter updates. Ravens officially list Lamar Jackson on today's practice report as limited. Yeah, exactly. We are already all over that. Alrighty, 54 people watching. Appreciate you guys for being here. Can we get 4 more likes before we get out? 4 more thumbs up button. Charlie said, LOL, this comparison is on point. Charlie says, we deaf the girl with the guy in a leather jacket and convertible V6 Mustang, LOL. Yeah, we are. I hate to say it, but that's just the cold, hard truth. Kanye says, do you think that the Ravens should trade for a pass-blocking guard like Brady Christensen? Good question. Yeah, I would love to. I would love to trade for any guard, my friend. Any guard under the sun whatsoever. 3 more likes. Reminder, we'll be live for Sunday's game. We go live an hour before kickoff, so 12 Eastern, 11 Central is when we'll be doing that. I'll be there. Gage will be there. It'll be a ton of fun. Our first live show in 2 weeks because of the bye. So hope to see you guys all there. We appreciate you for hanging out with us. Hope you have a great rest of your day. For Producer Gage, my name is Joey Petersen. We'll see you next time. God bless.